Hey, what's up, you guys? Marlboro Morris. You already know, man. Today is 20th, 2018, July. Uh, it's 10 past 12, and we're starting the podcast, man. Those who make it will make it. This is our podcast, merchandise available and all that. The goodies are coming. This video is a pretty short video. Before we get started, make sure to do all the hustler stuff as always, as usual. Subscribe, comment, share, like, subscribe. Today we're talking about Spotify plus Patreon minus label, a brand new success model. This is what we're going to talk about. This is a pretty straightforward formula for a wannabe independent artist to live off music, to have, to do what you love. Now, let's get this cracking. So Spotify isn't signing artists, and neither is Patreon, which is exactly the point. So if you aren't a diehard Amanda Palmer fan, you probably didn't even notice. But since smashing Kickstarter records in 2012, Palmer has effectively built a viable, high-revenue, direct-to-fan enterprise. So basically, in the process, Amanda Palmer, the artist, has evolved into Amanda Palmer, the business. And here's the quick story of Amanda Palmer Inc. Back in 2012, Amanda Palmer shocked the industry/world with a 1.2 million Kickstarter crowdfunding feat. She then parlayed that success into other crowdfunding, fan-supported initiatives, including an ultra-successful account on Patreon. Amanda Palmer basically has, I think, way more than thousands and thousands of Patreons. So he's building a massive crowdfunding on Patreon. In total, Palmer says she's made nearly 1.6 million through Patreon in just 3 years. Now think about it, 3 years, man. So thanks to thousands of diehard patrons who pay more for every creative product that she releases. So what's the only problem with all of this? One of the secrets, of course, to get all that is to be yourself. If you really are meant to be an artist, if you really are meant to change people's life, or somehow touch people's lives because they relate to you, and believe me, that's not even hard because we are humans. So we are, I always say, life is a war of feelings, and that's, whatever, man. You'll be anywhere in the world, you can speak any language you want. But if you find a way to interact with fans or people, tell your story as pure as you can be and as truthful as you can be, no matter how the judgment you used to it. If you get that connection, you'll get easy these numbers. It turns out that there's one giant inconvenient truth lurking behind all of this success. Now, what's this? Amanda Palmer started out on a major label, which explains why there aren't thousands of other Amanda Palmers out there. They didn't have the upfront capital, the marketing infrastructure, or the distribution required to climb out of obscurity. Sure, a diehard Amanda Palmer fan will contest this simple fact because it disagrees with the romantic direct-to-fan narrative that Palmer herself created. But the real irony is that most Amanda Palmer diehard fans wouldn't even exist without the upfront capital of whatever the records company and its then distributor Universal Music Group. We're talking about big stuff, big things, right? Big plays in the game. Now, Amanda's evil label lost the PR battle on this one. You see, Palmer is a brilliant a businesswoman, as she's herself a self-promoter. And one of the biggest aspects of promotion is spinning the right narrative. Palmer's narrative goes something like this. Big label signs an impressionable artist, exploits her, demeans her, then somehow, bam. Not so impressionable artist escapes the clutches of major label prison and truly expresses herself. Is what marketers call a compelling narrative, and is one of that Palmer has exploited to help make millions of dollars. So, like I said, Amanda Palmer's pretty damn smart, which means none of this would have happened without her ingenious, courageous, and risky approach towards building her career. But even a highly tuned sports car can't get over 50 miles per hour on a bumpy dirt road, right? You just can't do it. But what if Amanda Palmer was starting out in 2018? Now, let's say that this guy, Amanda Palmer, is you, right? Now, this is where things get really, really interesting, because now the label isn't the only one that can propel an artist out of obscurity. Not anymore. About 10 years ago, the music industry was hooked on this idea of direct to fan, a theory called the long tail. Posited that niche artists and bands who I don't know how to pronounce that. Posited. I don't know. That niche artists and bands who naturally find other following and survive, while mega stars like Mariah Carey will fade. And the internet will make this perfectly matched world of artists and fans infinitely possible. This is basically what's happening, my man. So just one problem. None of those dreamy inevitabilities came true, at least on a scale imagined. These days, blockbuster artists like Drake dominate music, with a tiny percentage of heavily marketed artists commanding about 95% of the attention. But the numbers are even scarier than you think. A few sources have told Digital Music News that a tiny handful of artists are now dominating platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora with more than 90% of plays. Sort of like a tiny number of artists dominated the old landscape of traditional radio, big labels, and MTV, which we don't give a fuck about, right? So, which means because they're old, out of fashion. Which means a platform like Spotify can start a career like Amanda Palmer's, literally overnight. Why? Let's go through this. Amanda Palmer isn't the only business savvy artist out there. There are probably thousands of Amanda Palmers, and you gotta be one of them. That didn't get signed in the early 20s because they didn't catch lightning in a bottle. They got passed up by the gut of some AR guy, if they even got the meeting to begin with. Data wasn't used to pick talent back then. Only a highly inefficient selection and development process. Well, basically what they're saying here, data wasn't used to pick talent back then. In the next podcast, we will be talking about a digital distribution startup, which basically is nothing but a digital record label, which is, this is what they do. Basically, they do what DistroKid and all these platforms do, basically taking your music, distributed on these digital services, and giving you all the money, 100% of royalty. But this company, which again we will be talking about tomorrow's podcast or whatever the podcast is going to come out, it basically use the data from your history to then sign you and give you all the money up front. Basically, they're using data to pick talent, not guessing. There's no guessing. I got the feeling for this dude. I got this feeling for this babe. Nah. You gotta bring on the table data. This is how it works nowadays. So take notes. Nowadays, there are thousands of brand new Amanda Palmers just starting out their careers, and they don't need a label. major or indie to get started. Spotify isn't signing artists, not yet anyways. In fact, that's one of the competitive advantages, because if Spotify curator likes an artist, that artist has a dramatically better chance of succeeding, simply because Spotify playlists are that powerful. You see what this is talking about? This is talking about taking artists or picking artists and putting it in their playlist and getting plays. You know what I'm saying? Get slotted onto Rap Caviar and you've just leapfrogged the millions in upfront expenses. If you guys want next podcast to be all about Spotify playlist and how to get to know that word, you already know. Put it in the comment section down below. And maybe even years of label development work. Match that with a smart, talented, hardworking artist and a savvy team, and you got a brand new blueprint for success with a far better profit margin. All Spotify wants is better licensing deal. So you can replace step one, sign to a label, with step one, secure a deal with Spotify. Next podcast is going to be all about that. I'm always saying next, but I'm not sure, of course, which exactly is going to be the topic of tomorrow. Because tomorrow, when I go to when I be at work, in the back of my mind, I'll be working that out. And the second option may prove far more powerful to an artist's career than the first. So ask yourself. Let's ask ourselves this question: what if Spotify had secured a direct deal with Drake when he was just starting out, with Canadian government's culture money helping to bankroll the rest? I don't know what they're talking about the bankroll, culture money helping to bankroll the rest. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. The results might be eerily similar to what we just written on Scorpion. The major labels are, if you don't know, Scorpion is doing fucking crazy, man. It just makes you wanna, do this shit. You feel me? Cause I think now Drake's got on Billboard like 6 or 7 songs, and on Spotify they just rolling as fuck. The major labels are apparently pissed that they aren't getting enough music on Spotify's big playlist. Maybe they reconsider their licensing terms and make life hard for Spotify. Maybe they will. But they can only go so far because both sides need the other to survive. That's some cool stuff right here. Hey, put your thoughts in the comment section. If the major labels, and subscribe, if the major labels pull their catalogs, they kill Spotify's. If Spotify dies, so do the major labels. Sounds like the perfect recipe for some middle ground, right? But this isn't just about Spotify. Early this month, Apple Music surpassed Spotify with the most US-based subscribers. Either platform has just as much power to blast an artist into the world's consciousness, arguably with more effectiveness than a well-established major label, and both are trying. Even Amazon Music is quietly running its own exclusives, even through Universal Music Group's chairman Lucian Grange has publicly decried exclusives. So it also isn't just about Patreon, because Patreon is just one platform to engage core fans. Major Portal, a brand new YouTube competitors we just profiled. Maybe we will look into some other podcast, becomes a viable direct fan platform in the future. So yeah, Portal, a brand new YouTube competitor we just profiled. We need to look into Portal, right? Maybe it's a hybrid label deal with far better terms, like Childish Gambino's 50% cut with Glassnode, which is out of. Maybe it's a Cobalt mixed with successful touring with a smart manager calling the shots. The point is, the label isn't the only VC in town anymore. Far from it. Labels are facing a serious disadvantage for up-and-coming artists, many of whom already have the leverage of good data and a myriad of paths towards success. Success is whatever, man, you set out yourself to get, which means the label's next innovation challenge might be even harder than the first, and that goes for indies as much as it does for the majors. Brilliant article. I had so much fun reading. I had so much fun reading it out loud for the first time and to share it with you. The next one, because you're gonna be the next one. Whoever you are, whatever you doing, you're gonna be the next one. The thing is that you gotta write what you're gonna be. All right, because there's a proverb. Today's quote or proverb. Don't mind Pornhub, man. I watch Pornhub. You go to proverb. I sometimes watch Pornhub, man, as a school, man, just to get new moves and shit. Your daily proverb, and this one goes out like this. Also, that the soul be without knowledge it is no good, and he that has with his feet sinned. My God, I read that horribly. But I read it sometime. I read it this morning in a different English, in an easier English, and he translated the soul as a desire. So a desire without knowledge is useless. I hope you get what I'm saying. You be the next one. I'm Marlboro Morris. You need to subscribe. You need to do all that hustle stuff. Subscribe, comment, share, like this video, subscribe. My name is Marlboro Morris. You're gonna be the next one, man. I'm telling you, but you gotta write down on a piece of paper what you're gonna be, what you're gonna get, who you're gonna be. Don't worry about the where, don't worry about the when, because that'll come out. As always, I'm out. And for this podcast, our mantra is, those who make it will make it. Peace out, homie.